This video is all of Unit 1 in one sitting. Every tested idea from topics 1.1 through 1.8, reviewed in the order the course teaches them, with 12 check questions along the way so you can prove the ideas are in the back of your head already. It's built for the first cohort, the students taking the first AP Business with Personal Finance exam in May 2027, and it works as a final pass before a unit test or as exam week review at your own school as well. One instruction before we start. Every time a check question appears, pause the video and commit to a letter before the answer reveals. Each topic gets about 4 minutes here. So when a section moves too fast for you, you can watch the full lesson in the Unit 1 playlist and slow it back down. I'm Logan Schaefer, and this is Mamako's AP Business, the complete Unit 1 review. One goal by the end of the video. Every tested idea from topics 1.1 through 1.8 back in your working memory, in order. Practice questions for every topic are in the Unit 1 playlist. Let's go. A business is an organization or entity that produces and distributes products, and products means goods, services, or both. The definition sets no minimum size. A business can be any size measured by geographic reach, employee count, or revenue, and it can serve customers face-to-face or virtually. Goods are tangible items, and services are work performed for compensation. Ricky's candy backpack from the very first lesson met every word of that definition, and so does a corporation with 100,000 employees. Two roles the exam sorts constantly. A customer is the individual or business that purchases a good or service. A consumer is the individual who uses it, whether or not they bought it. A parent buying cleats for a child is the customer, and the child using the cleats is the consumer. Read the customer definition closely. An individual or a business, because schools, hospitals, and companies buy products every day that other people use. 4 terms in a chain. A need is essential for survival. A want improves life without being essential. A market opportunity is a customer problem, need, or want that a business could address. Problem-solution fit is the match between the problem and a product built to solve it. And a strong fit is what makes a product worth something to the person holding the problem. One limit the exam creators state directly. A business cannot satisfy all potential customers, so it must select which problems, needs, and wants to address and which customers to serve. Now the pair the topic is named for. Value is the worth or benefit of a product to customers. Value creation occurs when a business provides a product that responds to customers' problems, needs, and wants, so the benefit flows toward the customer. Value capture occurs when the business charges a higher price than the product costs to produce, so benefit flows back to the business, and the arithmetic is price charged minus cost. A business needs both, in that order, because a product nobody benefits from earns nothing lasting. And a beloved product priced below cost bleeds money on every sale. 3 tells for this topic. When a scenario names 2 parties, underline who paid and underline who used. And if those differ, the customer-consumer split is the question. An answer choice claiming a business should serve every possible customer is wrong on its face. And a scenario pairing popularity with prices below cost is describing value creation without any value capture. Check question 1. A dental office purchases 200 branded toothbrushes and gives one to each patient. Which of the following best identifies the roles in this transaction? A. The patients are the customers because they receive the toothbrushes. B. The dental office is the consumer because it paid for the toothbrushes. C. The dental office is the customer and the patients are the consumers. D. The patients are both the customers and the consumers because they use the toothbrushes. The answer is C. Purchase defines the customer and use defines the consumer. So the dental office, which paid, is the customer, and the patients, who use, are the consumers. Choices A and D treat receiving as buying, which is exactly the swap this topic tests. Topic 1.2 review, markets and competitive advantage. A market is any physical or virtual space where businesses, the sellers, interact with their customers, the buyers, and markets can be local, regional, or global. Inside a market, voluntary exchange generates revenue for sellers and creates value for buyers who obtain products that they need or want, which is why both sides show up willingly. Price comes from two forces pushing. Sellers seek higher prices to gain more profit, and buyers attempt to pay lower prices to achieve savings. In a competitive market, that interaction tends to establish a prevailing market price that no single seller can hold themselves above. Ricky, our candy seller, learned this the Monday a rival backpack showed up 2 hallways down and undercut him on price. One boundary worth repeating. Drawing supply and demand graphs belongs to AP Economics, and the exam creators in this course put it outside this exam's scope. So you only need the mechanism in words. You don't need the graph. Competitive advantage is the ability to outperform rivals in the same market, leading to increased market share and potentially to increased profits. How hard the fight is depends on 3 factors: the number of rival businesses and product offerings, the degree to which products are differentiated, and the extent to which rivals can offer identical or similar products at a lower price. The competitiveness of the market then determines the strategy. At one end, markets for agricultural goods and other commodities tend to be highly competitive because the products are interchangeable, so businesses there seek advantage by producing as efficiently as possible in order to charge the lowest price possible. At the other end, in markets with differentiated rival products, businesses demonstrate to customers how their products are superior through 5 routes: higher quality products, unique product features, better customer service, lower prices, or more effective marketing. Businesses also seek advantage by working to create or strengthen barriers to entry, obstacles that make it difficult for new firms to compete. Intellectual property rights such as patents, regulations that limit rivals, limited access to resource suppliers, high startup costs, and low prices made possible by operating at a large scale. Push barriers to the limit and you reach a monopoly, a market without competition, where only one business operates and produces a unique good or service, and a business holding that position may protect it by maintaining its barriers. 2 tells on the exam. An identical product means the contest is price, and the strategy answer is efficiency. And keep the pair straight. Competitive advantage means outperforming rivals, while a monopoly means having no rivals at all. So a scenario with no rivals cannot be testing competitive advantage. Let's check question 2. Which of the following best explains how a prevailing market price is established in a competitive market? A. Sellers seeking higher prices and buyers seeking lower prices interact until a going price emerges that no single seller can stay above. B. The seller with the largest market share announces a price and rivals adopt it. C. Buyers and sellers negotiate a permanent price and a written agreement. D. The business with the lowest costs is required to set the price for the market. The answer is A. The prevailing price emerges from the interaction of both sides, and no single participant sets it. Choices B and D each hand the price to one powerful seller, which reverses the mechanism. Let's check question 3. A medical device company holds the only patent on a surgical instrument and is its sole producer, and no substitute for the instrument exists. Which of the following best describes the company's position? A. Competitive advantage because the company outperforms rival producers. B. A highly competitive commodity market. C. Differentiation through unique product features. D. A monopoly protected by a barrier to entry. The answer is D. One business, a unique product, and no competition is the monopoly definition, and the patent is the intellectual property barrier holding entrants to that market out. Choice A is the classic swap, because competitive advantage requires rivals to outperform, and this company has no rivals at all. PESTEL names the 6 outside forces that shape the business landscape and decide which types of business are viable in a market: political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and legal. Rivals live inside the market, and these forces press on it from the outside. One memo from a new principal closed Ricky's hallway market overnight, and no rival did it to him. Political factors are policies and political dynamics: trade policy, taxes and subsidies, mandates, bans, and political stability. Subsidies and mandates support activities, bans limit them. And taxes fund government and may also discourage whatever gets taxed. Economic factors are conditions of the economy itself: economic stability, household income, inflation, unemployment, and interest rates. And while most businesses thrive in a strong, stable economy, some thrive by meeting needs in a weak one, like discounters when incomes fall. Social factors are trends in society and culture that move consumers: demographics, cultural norms, lifestyle trends, and the population growth rate. And consumer-oriented businesses live or die on reading these factors, because meeting consumer wants is what keeps them viable. Technological factors cover the availability of technology for market activity, internet access, automation of production, and the rate of innovation, because systems for production, distribution, and communication all depend on available tools. Environmental factors are external environmental conditions: geography, access to renewable and non-renewable resources, waste management policies, and customers' environmental perspectives. Climate and natural disasters can constrain production and distribution, and customers' environmental views can steer purchases by themselves. Legal factors are specific laws, rules, and regulations: employment law, consumer protection, health and safety, environmental regulations, intellectual property protection, and antitrust. And they matter because they set operating costs and draw the line around which operations are legal at all. The same forces shape careers because jobs exist where viable businesses exist. And when a factor turns, the landscape and the job market turn with it, which is why layoffs cluster in economic downturns. The tested skill here is applying the framework. Identify the factors relevant to this specific product or business idea, then assess how each one affects the market's attractiveness and its risks. A business enters where the factors align with its model, its resources, and its customers. So a tech company wants cheap, reliable internet and electricity, while a farm-to-table restaurant wants customers who prioritize locally grown food. And factors move. A new law, a downturn, or a technology shift can rewrite an existing market's viability overnight by changing what customers need, what they can afford, and what can be produced. 2 tells on the exam. Political versus legal is the sorting test. Political factors are broad policy choices like a tax or a ban, while legal factors are specific rules a business must comply with, like a safety code, and the fact that a government produced the rule does no sorting by itself. And a factor's direction depends on the business, because cheap electricity attracts a data center and does nothing for a tutoring service. Let's check question 4. A state passes a rule requiring every salon to renew its cosmetology licenses annually in order to operate. For a salon owner, this rule is best classified as which PESTEL factor? A, political, because a government body created the rule. B, legal, because it is a specific regulation the business must comply with. C, social, because it responds to public concern about service standards. D, economic, because license renewals raise the cost of operating. The answer is B. A named specific compliance requirement is a legal factor. Choice A is the trap, because government origin describes nearly every political and legal factor alike, and the sort runs on a broad policy versus specific rule. An entrepreneur is an individual who develops a new business and assumes its risks and potential rewards. And the exam's definition turns on assuming the risk. New product ideas come from 3 strategies, and existing businesses run them as often as founders do. Watch and ask, observing, interviewing, and surveying potential customers to identify needs. Research, market and technical research to find market gaps, unmet needs no current product serves, and to confirm a solution can actually be built with available technology. Experiment, developing new capabilities by trying things, because some products surface while building something else. Bringing a new product to market incurs risk, because it consumes financial, physical, and human resources, all of which have costs. And there is no guarantee the product will generate enough revenue to cover those costs or earn profits. Entrepreneurs accept that risk for 3 reasons the exam treats as equals: the potential to earn future profits, the satisfaction of solving a problem, and the ability to pursue a passion. The entrepreneurial design thinking process turns a raw problem into a tested idea in 3 steps. Step 1. Validate the problem through observation, interviews, and surveys, where validation means gathering evidence that the problem exists, can be clearly defined, and is experienced by multiple potential customers. Step 2. Develop a potential solution through brainstorming, sketching, and prototyping. Step 3. Validate the idea by gathering initial feedback on a minimum viable product, the simplest version of the product idea carrying only its core features, which can be a sketch, a description, or a model. Ricky's snack box added fruit because the feedback from his first MVP Saturday asked for it. 2 tells. Validation appears twice in the process, so classify by what customers are reacting to. Interviews with no product in sight validate the problem, and customers reacting to something that they can see or try to validate the idea. And read minimum as a count of features, because the MVP strips the product to its core and never means a sloppy version. Let's check question 5. An entrepreneur interviews 30 apartment residents and finds that 22 describe the same frustration with missed package deliveries. She has not yet designed anything. Which step of the entrepreneurial design thinking process does this represent? A. Gathering feedback on a minimum viable product. B. Developing a solution through brainstorming and prototyping. C. Strengthening a barrier to entry. D. Validating that a problem exists, can be clearly defined, and is shared by multiple potential customers. The answer is D. Interviews with no product in sight are problem validation, and the 22 matching answers are the evidence. Choice A is the both validations trap, because MVP feedback requires a product for customers to react to, and she has not built one yet. Topic 1.5 review: Vision. Core values are the defining beliefs and principles that guide an individual's or a business's actions. Values like creativity, excellence, transparency, empathy, and reliability. Businesses communicate them for 2 reasons: to align employees to a shared purpose, and to guide decision makers towards choices consistent with what the business believes. Ricky wrote 3 values on a cooler lid so his cousin could make the right call with nobody watching. Core competencies are the capabilities, skills, and expertise that help an individual or a business outperform rivals and achieve competitive advantage. Competencies like innovation, customer service, communication, ethical behavior, and efficiency. Businesses consider their competencies when deciding which opportunities to pursue and how to allocate resources to meet customers' needs. The same 2 lists point at you, because individuals weigh their own core values and core competencies when choosing educational paths, careers, and jobs. 2 documents put purpose in writing. A vision statement is a concise description of a business's core values and aspirations, the future it wants to create. A mission statement describes what the business does and how it will achieve its long-term goals. Both work on 2 audiences. Internally, they guide decision-making and provide a shared sense of purpose. And externally, they inform potential customers and investors of the business's goals and values. 3 kinds of organizations, sorted by whom the gains serve. Businesses seek to achieve and increase profits, fulfill their stated missions and goals, and remain competitive and viable long-term. And profit improves in exactly 2 ways: raising revenues or cutting costs. Social enterprises seek profit while also achieving social objectives by design through their products, their operations, and their financial model. Nonprofit organizations serve the public good rather than generating profit for owners, and the law draws one hard line. Any surplus, meaning revenues in excess of costs, must be reinvested in the organization, which is why nonprofits often add grants and donations to the revenue. A statement describing a future is vision. A statement describing the work is mission. And the label printed on a statement is unreliable, so classify by content. For organizations, ask 2 questions in order. Can owners keep the profit at all? And if yes, is a social objective built into the model? Let's check question 6. A moving company is the only mover in its area that packs fragile items with zero breakage thanks to a crew training method the owner developed. This ability is best described as which of the following? A. Core competency, because it is a capability that helps the business outperform rivals. B. A core value, because it reflects what the company believes. C. A mission statement, because it describes the company's future. D. A market opportunity, because customers want safer moves. The answer is A. A built capability that beats rivals matches the competency definition word for word. Choice B is the beliefs versus good at SWOT, because nothing in the stem states a belief or a principle. Let's check question 7. A community theater sells tickets, and this season its revenues exceeded its costs. By law, the entire surplus must be reinvested in the organization. Which type of organization is this? A business, because its revenue exceeded its costs. B, a social enterprise, because theater serves the community. C, a nonprofit organization, because no surplus may flow to its owners. D, a partnership, because several directors share decisions. The answer is C. Nonprofits can absolutely sell things and can absolutely run a surplus, and the tell is the legal rule here about where the surplus is allowed to go. Choice A reads earning a surplus as proof of profit seeking, which is the exact edge case that this topic tests. Topic 1.6 review, business ethics. Unethical behavior in business includes falsifying or concealing information, misusing company property, and causing harm to employees or customers, and it can occur at every level of a business. Incentive structures can influence individuals toward unethical choices that benefit themselves, because a bonus that rewards only output pays the same whether the truth was told or hidden. Businesses encourage ethical behavior with 4 tools. Codes of conduct set written expectations for behavior. Training lets employees practice the guidelines before the situation is live. Internal repercussions impose consequences for crossing the line. And modeling means leaders demonstrate the behavior themselves, like a manager who reports her own inventory error the day she finds it. Ethical practices can attract both customers and employees and contribute to brand loyalty, and a business's response to unethical behavior or an ethical dilemma can shape customer and employee relationships, public perception, and profitability. Ricky's hot trunk chocolate sold honestly at half price under a handwritten sign, and the pre-orders kept on coming. An ethical dilemma exists when a core value conflicts with other core values or with a business's goals or practices. That definition separates a dilemma from a temptation, because a temptation has a clean right answer with a profitable wrong one, while a dilemma wounds something the business values, no matter which option wins in the end. Before leaders weigh a dilemma, they map the stakeholders. Internal stakeholders have direct involvement in the business's operations, decisions, and outcomes. Owners, managers, and employees. External stakeholders hold a vested interest without being employed by or directly involved in the business. Customers, government agencies, and community members. Then leaders respond by one of 2 methods. Method 1 evaluates the benefits and costs of each option for every stakeholder group and chooses the course with the greatest total benefit or the least total harm. Method 2 chooses the course most consistent with the business's visions and goals. Leaders also weigh reputation, how outsiders remember the choice, and company culture, what insiders learn to repeat. 3 tells on the exam here. A leader acting is modeling, and a leader punishing is a repercussion. So watch what the leader actually does. When a response question offers arithmetic, count every stakeholder group before totaling. And absolutes are a wrong answer tell, because no ethical choice carries a guaranteed outcome. Let's see question 8. A delivery bakery promises customers same-day delivery and lists employee safety among its core values. A severe storm means today's orders can be delivered only if drivers take hazardous roads. Which of the following best describes the owner's situation? A. unethical behavior because a promise to customers may be broken. B, an ethical dilemma because a core value conflicts with a business practice. C, an internal repercussion for an ethical transgression. D, an incentive structure influencing employees toward unsafe choices. The answer is B. Employee safety and the delivery promise pull in opposite directions, and either choice costs something the business values, which is the dilemma definition. Choice A is the temptation trap, because nobody has concealed, falsified, or harmed anything, and the question classifies the situation itself. Topic 1.7 review, organization, roles, and responsibilities. 4 major types of business organization: sole proprietorship, partnership, limited liability company, and corporation. The trade-offs run along 2 lines. Line 1 is control and funding. Owners of a sole proprietorship, partnership, or LLC retain control over decision-making and profits. And the price is less access to funding, which can limit growth. Or corporation flips the table because owners cede control to shareholders and elected board of directors. And in exchange, the corporation typically gains greater access to funding and more ability to grow, with the company itself controlling profits. Line 2 is liability. Sole proprietors and partners are personally liable for all business debts and obligations. Organizing as an LLC lets owners avoid that personal exposure. And in a corporation, the company is liable rather than the individual owners. Ricky's handshake partnership divided the profits and never once mentioned the debts. Identify any scenario structure with 3 questions in order. How many owners? Who pays the business's debts? And how does growth get funded? One owner with personal liability is a sole proprietorship. Several owners with personal liability is a partnership. Shielded owners with no shareholders is an LLC. And shareholders with a board and stock funding is a corporation. Roles scale with size. A sole proprietor plays chief executive officer, marketer, product developer, financial manager, and operations manager at once. And partners carry the same full responsibility while typically dividing roles by each partner's strengths and interests. As a business grows in size and complexity, managing it requires more employees with specific skills. So roles organize into specialized departments whose expertise improves how efficiently and effectively the business meets customers' needs. Executive leaders hold responsibility for the overall vision, operations, strategy, and performance. Managers lead the departments and report to the executives. And in a corporation, the executives report to the board of directors and shareholders. 6 departments, 1 function each. Sales and marketing conducts market research, develops sales strategies, manages brands, and builds customer relationships to attract and retain customers. Research and development innovates around new and existing goods, services, and processes. Operations manages the technical process of making the goods or developing the services and getting products to customers. Accounting tracks expenditures and earnings and prepares financial statements to monitor financial health. Finance secures and manages funds and uses financial data to recommend strategies for improving performance. Human resources recruits, trains, and oversees the evaluation of employees. Outsourcing hands a function to another business when doing so is likely to increase efficiency or reduce costs. And the classic triggers are lacking employees with the specific skills or facing high labor costs. 2 tells here. The 3-question structure test solves every identification question in this topic. And accounting versus finance is the swap pair. Records look backward and belong to accounting. Funding looks forward and belongs to finance. So a scenario about preparing statements is accounting, even when the word finance appears in it. Let's look at question 9. 2 graphic designers jointly own a studio, share every major decision, and are each personally responsible for the studio's debts. Which type of business organization is this? A, a sole proprietorship. B, a limited liability company. C, a corporation. D, a partnership. The answer is D. Several owners plus personal liability is the partnership signature from the 3-question test. Choice B fails on the debts because an LLC exists precisely to shield the owners from personal liability. Let's look at question 10. A department at a furniture retailer secures a bank loan for expansion and uses the company's financial data to recommend a strategy for next quarter. Which department is doing this work? A. Finance. B. Accounting. C. Operations. D. Sales and marketing. The answer is A. Securing and managing funds and using financial data to recommend strategy is the finance function. Choice B is the records backward, funding forward swap, because accounting tracks expenditures and earnings and prepares the statements that report what already happened. Production runs between two poles. Artisan processes require skilled labor and attention to detail and produce smaller quantities, while mass production processes typically require technology, assembly lines, and machinery to produce larger quantities of goods. The choice weighs 3 inputs: customer priorities such as quality, price, and customization, the business's core competencies, and the competitive landscape. A supply chain connects all the individuals and businesses involved at each stage of a production and distribution, from acquiring raw materials to final customer delivery. And chains can be local, regional, or global. For a good, the stages run in order. Raw materials and component parts are acquired and transported to manufacturing facilities. Workers and equipment turn them into finished goods. The goods may wait in a storage facility such as a warehouse, and then they move to a distribution center or retail store for distribution to customers. Supply chains for services differ from supply chains for goods. A service business acquires the employees, resources, and delivery systems needed to provide the service in person or virtually. So a tutoring company's chain is tutors, lesson materials, and a video platform. Choosing suppliers weighs 5 factors: cost, quality, efficiency, convenience, and risk. Risk is the factor that hides, and its named forms are natural disasters, political instability, resource shortages, production errors, and supplier reputation, any of which can delay delivery or increase costs and threaten competitive advantage and profits. Here is the connection the exam builds questions on. The competitive advantage strategy decides the chain. Low-price businesses typically use mass production and build chains focused on reducing costs through cheaper resources and more efficient processes. And some scale, building new, higher capacity, more efficient chains designed so revenue increases, outrun cost increases. High-quality businesses, artisan or mass production alike, build chains around high-quality resources and production methods. Barrier to entry businesses build chains containing exclusive or restrictive agreements with suppliers or distributors, deals that keep a component away from rivals or keep rival products off a retailer's shelf. Ricky's vendor permit was exactly that, an exclusive distribution agreement on a lanyard. Chain questions arrive in 3 shapes. Shape 1 orders the stages, and the warehouse always lands after manufacturing and before distribution. Shape 2 chooses a supplier, and the right answer prices risk in rather than ignoring it. Shape 3 matches strategy to chain design, low price to cost cutting, quality to better inputs, and barriers to exclusive agreements. Let's look at question 11. Finished goods leave a manufacturing facility. Which stage of the supply chain do they typically enter next? A. The raw material stage, where component parts are acquired. B. The retail store, before any storage occurs. C. Storage in a facility such as a warehouse. D. The customer's hands, through direct delivery. The answer is C. Finished goods typically move from manufacturing into storage and only then to a distribution center or retail store. Choice A runs the chain backward, and choices B and D skip the storage stage the question asks about. Let's look at question 12. A watchmaker competes on quality and pays a premium for certified sapphire glass from a supplier known for flawless output. Which of the following best explains this supply chain decision? A. The business is scaling so that revenue increases outrun cost increases. B. A quality-based competitive advantage strategy calls for a chain built on high-quality resources. C. The business is creating a barrier to entry through an exclusive supplier agreement. D. The business is minimizing cost by consolidating suppliers. The answer is B. Paying more for a better input is the quality strategy shaping the chain. Choice C is the trap, because a barrier requires an agreement that restricts the supplier from serving rivals, and the STEM never mentions one. All right, let's zoom out because the 8 topics run as one machine. Value creation from 1.1 feeds competitive advantage in 1.2 because the business that solves the customer's problem best is the one positioned to win market share and capture value. The environment shapes strategy because the PESTEL forces of 1.3 decide which markets are worth entering and which strategies survive there. And the design thinking of 1.4 is how a business finds and tests its answer before the money is at risk. Ethics, structure, and chains are how the business actually runs. 1.5 says what it stands for and where it can win. 1.6 governs what it does when values and profits collide. 1.7 decides who owns it, who carries its debts, and who does which work. And 1.8 builds the chain that gets the product made and moved in service of the strategy chosen back all the way in 1.2. When a scenario crosses topics, and the hard ones do, walk that same order. What value, in what market, under what outside forces, run by what kind of organization. If any section of this review felt thin, that topic's full lesson and its 6-question practice video are both in Unit 1 playlist. And the practice videos are where these traps get drilled question by question. Unit 2 changes the question. Unit 1 build a business that can make a product and deliver it, and marketing asks who the customer actually is, what they truly want, and what convinces them to buy. That is the whole point of Unit 2. That's Unit 1, all complete. 12 for 12 means you're ready for the unit test, and any question you missed maps to a full lesson in the Unit 1 playlist. If this helped, a like tells YouTube to show it to more first cohort students, and subscribing gets you the whole course, in order as it's built. And the free AP Business Vocab Pack, every key term for all 5 units, is waiting at mamako.app. Link below. The full Unit 1 playlist has every lesson and practice video. I'm Logan Schaefer, and I'll see you next time.